Hi everyone, Dr. Joanne here. Welcome to this video. Why do we need mindset work? I put this video together for my current group coaching clients to help them with this concept, and it's just such good information that I thought I would share it out here on YouTube. So we need mindset work because of the indoctrination systems of the ego. So I want you to just take a deep breath and open up your mind and be prepared to be triggered emotionally with this information. I want you to take notes, pay attention, and just know that anytime you are emotionally triggered with anything, that's really good information. It means that there's something there for you to heal. So pay attention with an open, curious mindset, and let's dive into some of this stuff. So I want to also say that what I'm not saying here, I'm not saying anything bad about the people working in these systems. They are all doing the best they can. They're brilliant at what they do. But I want everyone here to take a broader, bigger picture view of this whole topic of indoctrination systems. And I want you to know that every single area of our lives are controlled by some sort of indoctrination system. And for anybody that goes on to even higher education, like chiropractic school, our first year was full of indoctrination systems. Here's what we want you to believe. Here's how you need to act and behave. And I've heard that time and time again. My husband in law school would say the same thing. People that I know that went to dental school, that went to physical therapy school, that, whatever it was, we get indoctrinated into a set of beliefs. So I want you to be thinking about the bigger picture. And indoctrination systems teach us how to be good girls and good boys. They teach us how to raise our hands, how to think in certain ways, how to act in acceptable ways, which careers are better than others, how to be better workers for our bosses, how to not get into trouble, how to work hard for everything we do, all of that kind of stuff. So some of these things are helpful, but most of these things are not helpful. You see, we're taught to go against our natural tendencies. And what are our natural tendencies? We are born with this connection to the frequency of love and peace and grace, a sense of community, happiness, vitality, and compassion. All of those things. Those are our natural tendencies. And these indoctrination systems go against our natural tendencies. So we're taught about judgment, how to control and manipulate, what constitutes the right way of doing things, the right careers, the right ways to think and make decisions, how to do what others want you to do so that you will be liked or approved of. And these kinds of things leave us feeling miserable, exhausted, fearful, guilty, rebellious, angry, disappointed, jealous, feeling like we're not worthy, we're not lovable, we're not good enough. So that's what I mean by going against the grain. When something leaves us feeling icky, that's not our truth. That's not the natural flow or our natural tendency. So we need to pay attention to that. So let's break it down here. What is our education indoctrination system teaching us? Okay, and remember, I'm not saying anything bad about our wonderful teachers and principals and everybody that works in the system. I'm just saying that our bigger picture overview here, that we are being taught rules of the ego. So, education system, think about, kindergarten through high school and then on to college. We're trained to ask permission to speak. We're trained to ask permission to go to the bathroom. We're trained to be a good worker for the workforce. We're trained that math and science are good and the arts are bad because you can't make a living with the arts. So they're inherently less than math and science. We're taught to work hard, listen to the teacher. You'll be judged for everything you do and say. You have to work hard. You have to do work that you don't like in exchange for a grade. That gets you ready to do work that you don't like in exchange for a paycheck. We're taught that you need to believe that what we tell you is true, that you aren't capable of making decisions for yourself. You're constantly compared to your peers. You'll never measure up no matter how hard you work. And if you try to rebel, we will do everything in our power to break your spirit. So again, all of these things are meant to trigger you in some way too. So what did you learn in school that made you think less of yourself, or that made you start to judge other people? So make your notes. Okay, let's talk about the healthcare indoctrination system. So in Western medicine, we are really great with crisis care. We have medicines, we have surgery. We are amazing at crisis care. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about our healthcare workers, our nurses, our doctors, and anybody in healthcare. They're wonderful. But the system is set up to guide you in a certain way. So we're not really taught how to eat healthier or how to exercise. We're not taught how to nourish or nurture our bodies to keep them well. What we're taught instead is we're taught to ignore or cover up our emotions and our physical symptoms. We're taught that our body is not powerful, but medication is powerful. We're taught that our body is incapable of healing on its own, that you don't know what you're doing, you can't trust your intuition about your own body, and you should cover up or numb any feelings or symptoms that you don't like. And someone else always knows better than you. So when you think about the bigger picture indoctrination system of our healthcare system, what did you learn about your body, about your emotions, or maybe your physical symptoms that might not be true for you? What questions do you have there? Okay, let's move on to the next triggering concept here, our church or religious indoctrination system. So take a deep breath through this. So most of us have several wounds from our church indoctrination systems, like myself included. I grew up, my parents didn't take me and my brother to church on any regular basis at all, because they had been having quarrels with their parents about church. And I remember my grandma, she was an elder in the church, and she would get me alone, get me off by myself and tell me what a terrible person I was, that I was never going to amount to anything, and that without going to church on a regular basis, that I had no sense of decency or morality. And I would be sitting there, she'd have me just about in tears, and I'd be looking at her thinking to myself, you're the meanest person I know. This does not compute. Like, how is it that I'm a bad person because I don't go to church, but you're a bad person and you go to church, but you're telling me I'm bad? It just made no sense at all. And a lot of people have this experience. And so what we come back to is we feel like there's a certain amount of hypocrisy in the system. We can tend to feel like, well, if you're not a Christian, then you're bad. And so people would come and, and ask, well, are you Christian? And, so there's all of this heavy wounding that nobody's trying to do. Nobody means to do this. Nobody means to do this harm. But a lot of people that end up becoming atheist or agnostic or then spiritual, they shun the church because of the hypocrisy that's going on. So again, lots of triggering stuff here. So I want you to just kind of think of, within religions, there can be this concept of heaven and hell. And, if you have to be good just because you're afraid of going to hell. It's not just be good because it's the right thing to do, or be good because it's your nature to be good. you're being good out of fear of the consequences. And that just never computed with me. That never resonated. And then when my children were young, I felt that we had to start going to church just because. I thought, I don't want them to grow up like I was, where like I didn't know anything about anything and I was so confused. So, basically within the church system, I was taught that God is vengeful, that you need to be afraid of him. And, in church, I was also helping out with Sunday school, and I would just be sitting there so confused because each and every sermon and each and every Sunday school lesson to me was teaching how many people did God kill in that week in history. And it just was like, and then this whole concept of you're born a sinner, so you need to be punished. And then you can't have a personal relationship with God. That's the devil's work. Only the pastor can have a personal relationship with God. And you need to be in a building to connect with God. And this stuff just never made any sense to me at all. It left me confused. It left me like, I don't resonate with this. I don't want anything to do with it. It just never made any sense to me. And I know a lot of people have that similar experience. The only thing that finally made sense to me was A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles teaches basically what Jesus was really teaching, which is just about love, and teaches about the two thought systems, the love-based thought system and the fear-based thought system. So A Course in Miracles is all about healing your mind, doing mindset work to heal your wounds, heal from the indoctrination systems. Stop listening to fear and go back to love. Listen to love. Listen to the love-based thought system. So when I found A Course in Miracles, it was finally that moment of like, oh my God, finally everything is making sense. So what is your journey? What makes sense to you? You get to question this and find your own way. So does your religion teach mostly love, or mostly fear, or a little combination of both? That's for you to decide. Okay, next indoctrination system, the media and advertising. If you've been watching the news the past year or so, there's been constant fear in the news. There's disasters everywhere. We've been in the middle of this pandemic for like a year now, over a year. And we're taught that we can't trust anyone or anything, and that we should hate the other side, especially in politics, that the other side is out to get us or harm us. So we're at each other's throats with this stuff. So take a look at that. Take a deep breath and just, are you watching too much news and getting drawn into all the fear, so much so that you don't even know what's really true and what's just for dramatic effect? And how about advertising? Advertising is just there to get us to buy something. So they're pushing our emotional buttons to get us to purchase something that will make us a better person, or make people like us or approve of us. So the basic message is that you aren't enough. You aren't pretty enough. You aren't smart enough. You aren't strong enough. You're too fat. You're too thin. You're whatever. You aren't enough, so you need our product. So I want you to ask yourself, do you need to take a break from the news for a while? And along with that, stop listening to all the commercials trying to sell you something because you're not enough. Okay, another indoctrination system. How about our culture and society in general? So think about what we're taught as little girls and little boys, like female versus male. And different cultures have varying degrees of these teachings, but in general, I'm kind of painting a brush here, so forgive me. In general, little boys are taught that the men are in charge, the men are the leaders of the household, and that they don't need to feel their emotions. In fact, they should not feel their emotions. Don't cry, don't show any emotions. So they grow up to be emotionally bankrupt, emotionally crippled. And they're taught that they should want more and more power to feel alive, more and more things to own, that that's what will make them happy. And yet it never does. And little girls are taught that the girls are not in charge. In fact, they are powerless. The men own you and control you. You need to do what they say, and you need a man to take care of you. So girls get taught that you need to please the men, you need to get things for them, do things for them. You need to process emotions for the men because they're incapable of doing it for themselves. So you're processing your emotions plus everyone else's. And little girls are taught to anticipate everyone else's needs. So you need to be about 5 to 10 steps ahead of everyone else to make your own life easier. So little girls get, we grow into women, and all of a sudden we're all twirled up in this giving and nurturing of others. We want to, but yet, with this whole thing of being 5 to 10 steps ahead of everyone in processing everyone's emotions, including our own, it catches up to us. We become depleted. We become exhausted. We go into body burnout and body breakdown. This is when we start to get really sick. And, if you think about it, menopause is the perfect example of this. We've become depleted, bitter, exhausted, and our body starts to break down. It shows up as menopausal symptoms, but this is what's going on. And we become resentful, so our relationships begin to suffer. We're under all this stress. It's all of this emotional baggage that we've been carrying around for decades, and we finally get to a place where we can't take it anymore. So I want you to take a step back, another deep breath in. What did you buy into? What beliefs are no longer serving you? Use this as information. Where do you need to heal? What belief patterns are no longer serving you? What do you need to let go of? Mindset work is becoming aware of all of the ways we were taught to believe something about ourselves that was not true. And then we need to heal these old wounds. We need to shift our belief patterns, learn to use our emotions and our physical symptoms as a feedback loop to give us clues about what the next thing is that's ready to be healed. So this is the basis of mindset work. We use mindset work to unlearn what is not true so that we can reconnect with our own truth and our own guidance system. And we do mindset work so that we can get back to our natural state, which is peace, calm, clarity, joy, vitality, and fun. We do mindset work because we can no longer tolerate the teachings of the ego's indoctrination systems. We do mindset work because we've spent decades trying our best to follow the ego's rules, and they just don't work. We do mindset work because we are finally open to trying the only thing that really works, and that is being who we truly are, following our own guidance system, listening for our own answers, doing what works best for our energy blueprint, and following our bliss. When we learn to do these things, everything in our lives finally smooths out and we are able to reconnect with our true nature. Again, peace, calm, clarity, joy, vitality, and fun. We didn't come here to follow the ego's rules and be miserable. We need mindset work in order to be truly happy and free. Hope that helped. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Like this video, share it out with anyone else that this might benefit, and I'll see you in the next video.